Hey guys, I wanted to respond by making a quick video of the issues you're having with Miss Willow. I figured it'd be a little bit easier to explain on a video versus typing back a response. So the first thing with the crate, so there's a couple different options that we have going for us. The first option is wait her out. So if she's barking and escalating in the kennel, wait her out. We do nothing, so she learns that it's never reinforced. I bark, I don't get out of the crate. I get out of the crate when I'm calm and I'm quiet. Now, with doing things like that, a lot of the times their anxiety will go down because they will learn that getting anxious and crazy is not going to get them out of the kennel. So that's our first option. If you're in a house, I don't know what your living situation is like, but if you're in a house, you know, as long as it's not bugging neighbors, I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you're in a condo or an apartment, sometimes that can get a little bit tricky. So maybe put her somewhere where no one can hear, I don't know, a basement, you know, spare bedroom, something like that. And that brings me to another point, is you might want to look at evaluating crate setups. So some dogs like to be with the family in their kennel. Maybe the living room is a good option. Sometimes that can promote more anxiety because they want to be out with you. So maybe a quiet place, out of the way, spare bathroom, spare bedroom, basement, you know, play with some different options there. Now, whatever option you try, I would give it a couple days before you call it quits. Because if you just try it once and maybe it's not working, you know, give it a couple days before you switch around crate setups. Okay, so option two, if we wait her out for the next couple of weeks and it doesn't work, we may need to look into adding something. With some dogs, a citronella collar, which I believe you can get at Petco, PetSmart, or Amazon, has been known to work. And so it's just like a calming odor. It's a collar that they wear, you put on them when they go in the kennel. So that is an option that we can try. Like I said, with some dogs it works, with some dogs it doesn't. Another option we can try is by adding a bark collar. Now, not all bark collars are created equal, so you want to make sure that you are buying one that, you know, isn't just a cheap $20 one from China. I would look at, with a dog her size, I would recommend getting, it is called the Dogtra Pet IQ No Bark Collar. You're looking at spending about $75 on it. You can get it off of Dogtra's website, or you can get, I believe you can get it off Amazon. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you search it online, that collar has a couple different settings. So with puppies, what I recommend doing is starting them on the very first setting, which is a vibration setting. So it vibrates just like your phone would when you get a text message. So she barks, she feels the vibration. She barks, she feels the vibration. So she starts to make a correlation between barking and vibration. And now it's a low enough setting where the dog can cognitively make a connection to. Sometimes with vibration is enough for dogs where it calms them down. They learn that they bark, there's a tiny little correction, it brings them down. Other dogs, I may have to work up to level number 1, which will send a stimulation to the dog. It's, you know, it's not hurtful or anything like that. Maybe if you went up too high on the collar, it can be hurtful, but the Dogtra IQ Pet has a lot of different settings where we can keep it very low, and I think they created it for small dogs, so it's pretty easy to use, and it's not, you know, a harsh one. Sometimes these $20 ones from China can be a little bit too dramatic for them, and you know, I want her to understand what it means, not just it shuts her down. So yeah, that's kind of our second option. So first option is we do nothing. We let her bark it out. We ignore her when she's crazy, and we let her out when she's calm. Unfortunately, she's getting herself sick over it. But if we let her out when she's frantic, it's only going to make it worse. We're just reinforcing it. Option two is adding something to it. So I would probably advise giving a couple weeks of doing nothing, maybe like 2 weeks, do nothing, play around with some crate setups, and then add something if by week 2 it's not getting better. So maybe try the citronella collar And then if that's not working, add a bark color. So by that point, she should be hopefully getting through it. Some puppies love their crates. Some puppies have a strong aversion to being away from you in the beginning, but it's important for them to work through the idea of separation is not a bad thing, because then you'll be able to go to the grocery store and put her in her kennel and trust that she's not potting on your floor, and she's also not making herself sick. So yeah, the crate's going to be a good tool to use. We just got to get her through it. The next point I wanted to bring up is about the dog at your parents' house. So I never just bring my dogs into another dog's home. There's a couple of reasons. Is number one, we have some territorial stuff, and number two, puppies have no boundaries. So you bring a puppy into an older dog's home that doesn't know this puppy, a lot of the times we're going to get them correcting the puppy, growling at the puppy, saying, hey, you have no boundaries and this is my house. It'd be like if you invited a stranger in your house and they just took their shoes off and put their feet on your coffee table as you had food on it or something. Like they're rude. Puppies just have no boundaries, not because they're trying to be jerks, just because they're puppies. They don't know any better. So I have some rules when I introduce dogs. Number one is we go for a walk. So I don't bring the dog into a home. I drive up to somebody's house and I say, hey, let's go for a walk with our dogs. And we get them out and we get them moving. What this is going to do is, for the older dog especially, is it's going to give the older dog something to focus on, like moving forward. And the puppy, it's going to tire the puppy out. Now, if she's pulling and being all over the crate, she's a puppy, that's okay. I don't worry about her like being in a tight heel position or anything like that, but it will give dogs an opportunity to meet each other, but it's very structured, and nobody's getting their feelings hurt. No one's jumping on the other one when someone doesn't want it. No one's biting necks when the other dog doesn't want it. So that's kind of what I manage, and I may do that a couple times. Since this dog is in the family, I think you said it's your mother's dog. Since this dog is in the family, you might do that a couple times, and then maybe bring a crate over for Willow, and when you guys are hanging out and the older dog needs some space, we put Willow in a crate. So we might do that a couple times, and then when Willow's older and has a little bit more manners, because we work on avoiding bad manners from the get-go, then we let them out in the house a little bit more and more. And I would be careful about toys. I know Willow had a scratch on her nose because she was like, oh, there's a bone here, and the older dog said, this is mine. Be careful about the other dog's toys. If the dog is toy motivated, if there's a bowl of food on the floor, be careful about resources like that. Some dogs can get protective and territorial and possessive over different things, especially when a new dog is in the picture. So that's what I would do. I'd be careful about stuff like that. If the dog is growling so if we get to the point where we're letting them hang out more after we do a couple walks and the dog is still growling at Willow, don't have Willow pester her, because what's happening is she's growling because she's doing a warning. She's saying, hey, back off. But Willow doesn't understand. She's just pestering her and pestering her and pestering her. And so there might be times when she learns that growling means I need to back off, but there might be times that she doesn't learn and the dog's only going to correct her harder and harder every time because she's not getting it. So that's when we need to step in and make sure that everybody's having a good positive experience when we're hanging out with the dogs. So anyway, just thought I would give you some input there, and hopefully this has answered your questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to reply back, or we can talk a little bit more after class next week. So anyway, puppies are tough, puppies are hard, but I do know that they get through things. Like we can get her through the crate situation, and we can make it a positive experience. So anyway, let me know if you have any other questions, and I will talk to you soon.